Welcome back to another edition of the Horseman Pro Football Talk podcast. This week is the AFC West preview, and I'm Brad.
And I'm Hefe.
And we are the Horsemen. Today we're breaking down the AFC West divisions, teams, positions, and players. Be sure to follow us on your favorite social media platforms. Find out more at horsemansports.com. All right, you ready, Hefe?
Yep, let's get into it, man.
All right, we're going to get into the AFC West. There's been a lot of changes in the offseason here. And you want to talk about quarterbacks first, huh?
Yep, like to get into the quarterbacks. The quarterback we're going to start with, we always start at the bottom as we rank these guys. Unfortunately, I have to rank a guy at the bottom that doesn't deserve to be at the bottom, but this division's loaded with quarterback talent. It's going to be my guy, Derek Carr. Going to be the fourth best quarterback in this division, but for being the worst quarterback in this division, listen to the numbers over the last four seasons, okay? 67% or higher completion percentage in each of the last four seasons. One of those seasons, he was at 70%, which is like elite of elite status. He's been over 4,000 yards in each of the last four seasons. He's a little inconsistent when we talk about touchdown production, but he's generally pretty good at not throwing interceptions. He had 8 and then 9 when we talk about 2020, 2021, but then he threw a career high 14 interceptions last season. But I feel like last season was more of a let's let Derek Carr control the offense. So they let him throw the ball more, had more interceptions, but I expect that to get better because he gets Devontae Adams. You get better weapons. Those numbers are bound to get better, right? You also get Josh McDaniels to call you plays. So he's in a system that's tried and true in the league. He's going to be able to find his spots in this league with the weapons that he has. Again, it feels weird to say he's the worst quarterback in this division. I think he's a top 12 quarterback, possibly a top 10 type quarterback in this league, especially with the pieces around him now. I think he'll be in those discussions a lot. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we hear about Derek Carr being in the MVP conversation.
Okay, well, that's a pretty bold statement, but I don't disagree with you. And I know, and for anybody paying attention, has to know how hard this is for you to put Derek Carr at the bottom. He's one of your favorites, and we all know that. But that's a great analysis. So, who do you have as number 3?
Number 3. See, this division is like full of hot takes because you could put any of these guys anywhere. I'm going to have Russell Wilson at number 3. And there's a reason for it. Russell Wilson has been great. Right. You look at, I was looking at the numbers and honestly couldn't believe how great it was. I knew he was great. It's been phenomenal, though. 7 of the last 10 seasons, Russell Wilson has had a 100 or better quarterback rating, which is just unreal consistency in that position, especially as that team around him has continued to get worse. The fact that he has continued to be that good, kind of crazy. 30-plus touchdowns in 4 seasons prior to 2021. If you remember, in 2021, he sat out a few games because of the mouth finger, then came back, had the splint on his finger, but even still had 25 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. That's a great 4-to-1, a little bit greater than a 4-to-1 ratio for touchdown to interception is amazing for any quarterback in the league. He's still one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. In my opinion, not the best deep ball thrower in the NFL anymore, but still, top 3, top 5 guy. But look, the thing that made it hard to put Russ at 3 is that when you looked at early last season in 2021, they were finally letting Russ cook, and Russ was putting up unreal numbers. He was in the MVP conversation. He looked like he was going to be the easy favorite for the MVP over the first 6 to 8 weeks of 2021. And then obviously, the injury happens and that goes downhill. But I think in this new offense and with the weapons that are around them, the offensive line in front of them, we're going to be talking about Russ as, again, a top 10 guy in the league, but somehow, some way ends up being the third best guy in his division.
Yeah, and I have to say, I'm so happy to see him get out of Seattle. I really am, and I'm excited to see what he can do here in Denver. I don't have a lot of high hopes for the Broncos organization this year overall, as far as their win-loss record in the playoffs. But I'm excited to see Russ play somewhere else and see, like you said, let him cook, see what he can do. All right, who you got number 2? Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. I thought long and hard about it. Right now, I'm going to have Justin Herbert. Okay. And off rip, I'm going to just let it be known. The only reason Justin Herbert's not number 1 is because Patrick Mahomes has proved it over 6 years now, right? But you look at Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has been at 66% completion percentage in both seasons in the league. We'll talk more about the 66% thing in a little while. But he went over 5,000 yards passing in year 2. I know there were 17 games. I get it. But either way, he went over 5,000 yards. Those are elite numbers any way you slice it up. He has 7 more touchdowns in year 2 than year 1, 5 more interceptions, and basically the same QBR. The numbers he's putting up are ridiculous, especially in his second season. Again, he's going to have to keep proving it, which is why he's under Patrick Mahomes for me right now. But this is the guy that's had the most 300-yard games in the first 2 seasons start in NFL career. So he's an elite quarterback. I expect him to get better. I don't know if you've seen him, but he's even more swole now. So his deep ball is just going to keep getting better. He can probably chuck that thing 80 yards at this point. So I'm super excited about Justin Herbert, super excited about the pieces around him. They keep making his offensive line better, which I thought you saw a huge transition from his rookie year to his second year. When you make a guy's offensive line better, does that make him better? He immediately made his numbers jump. I expect that to keep getting better. He has the same coaches this time around. You got to remember he switched coaches from rookie year to second year. He's got the same coaches, same system, same pieces around him. I expect him to continue to get better and to be another guy that we're talking about being in the MVP conversation.
All right. And then I was going to say the GOAT. It's a little premature to be calling Patrick Mahomes the GOAT, but that leaves Patrick.
That is going to be Patrick. He's here because he does it consistently. This is the guy that's led his team to the conference championship game 4 years in a row. Guy that's been to, 2 or 3 Super Bowls over the last 4 years. I mean, what he's been able to do is ridiculous. And I understand he's losing Tyreek Hill, but he got a bunch of other guys. And I expect that, I think a lot of people think Patrick Mahomes is going to be worse without Tyreek Hill, but some guys make receivers better. The combination of Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes made them so great. Patrick Mahomes is going to get these guys and make them great. He gets Juju Smith-Schuster. We'll talk about all the weapons in a little while. The plethora of weapons that were signed through the offseason. They drafted a guy. They have a really good offensive line in front of them. I expect Patrick Mahomes to keep being Patrick Mahomes. But what I will say is that Patrick Mahomes won't be the best quarterback in this division by the end of the season.
Whoa. Okay. Who will? Herbert?
I love me some Justin Herbert, man. He's so good.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll be a fun thing to watch anyway because of the talent that's at quarterback level in this division. It's just crazy how overloaded this division is.
I was thinking the other day, just random thought popped in my head. I was like, this has to be the most loaded division with quarterback talent in NFL history. Like I tried thinking of all the different great quarterbacks and who that was in their division. I mean, when you stack these guys up against each other and talk about sustained talent from 3 of these guys and Justin Herbert going into his 3rd year and the way he's looked, I mean, the talent that's here is just unreal.
Yeah, you may be right. I was thinking back to the old AFC East that had Marino and Jim Kelly, but obviously 2 Hall of Famers, 2 of the greatest quarterbacks ever played the game. But I think it fell off from there. So you may be right about that. That's a good point. I'll have to give that some thought.
Yeah, and before we move off of the quarterbacks completely, there was one other thing I wanted to add with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. It was something weird that I saw when I was looking at the stats. So Patrick Mahomes, the one game he started as a rookie, he threw for 63% completion percentage, but every other season he has averaged 66% completion. One of those years was 65.9, but he's always right at 66.6%. Or 66%. Also, Justin Herbert was at 66% in his 2 years. And it was just, I was looking at those stats like right next to each other. And it was a little mind boggling how that worked out.
Yeah, it's crazy. For those of you that aren't real good at math, that's 2 out of 3 passes.
Every 2 out of 3 passes, yes.